Welcome to our business opportunity. We try to give one of these every single month to help you in your business and to inspire you about the possibility of the Sunrider lifestyle. My name is Randy Fritz, and with me we have a number of honored guests, Trudy Stolting from the East, Jim Pendry from Edmonton here, Barb Rowe from the border of Saskatchewan and Alberta, and Ann Humble from Regina. So welcome everyone. I'm going to ask you to, right off the bat, just tell your Sunrider story as it relates to the Sunrider lifestyle. Starting with Trudy.
Thank you so much, Randy. I started in Sunrider because I was interested in improving my health. I was very ill, and so that was my focus until I started to get well. And when my body regenerated, it was like my eyes had opened up, and I looked around me and I went, oh, this is just dismal. People were so sick and tired and so stressed and pushing themselves so hard. And the residual income started rolling in for me, and I realized that what a message I had to bring to people. They did not have to, work 24/7. They didn't have to have an overbearing boss that was wearing them down and stressing them out. They didn't have to keep doing more and more work with less and less help. That if they would work smart, they could have this amazing income from Sunrider. And I love that because that amazing income for the last 18 and a half years has been able to afford, travel and really vibrant health because I've been able to afford all my Sunrider foods for myself and my family. And what a lifestyle it has afforded us. It's been a wonderful journey.
Okay, thanks, Trudy. And Jim, we'll have you go now.
Well, I'm going to just add to Trudy's story first is, when I met this woman, I heard about her because she had these pretty serious health challenges. And then one of my meetings, there was this woman laughing and laughing in the back of the group, and she was just getting everything we were talking about. And so that's when I met Trudy, and it didn't take very long, and she started telling other people, and she gets this check in the mail. I forget how big it was. I don't know if it was $400 or whatever. And she called Sunrider, and she goes, I think there's a mistake. You sent me money. And that's when she realized, oh, there's a business. And she'd been off work for a while. She worked for the hospital, and she had a fairly high position there. And she was written out because anybody who knows Trudy, she's just a joy to be around. She's always happy and pleasant and bubbly, and they wrote her up for being unseemingly happy, as if it was a problem. And then she puts in her resignation at the hospital. And she's healthy enough. She goes back to work, and she's there for, I'm not sure, was it a couple months, Trudy?
Yes.
And she realizes this is not it for me anymore. So she puts in her resignation. Then she calls me up and she goes, Jim, you weren't lying to me because I just quit my job, and I almost fell off my chair. I'm sure I turned white because all of a sudden I felt the whole weight of the responsibility of her future on my shoulders, right?
Because he told me I could make a really good income with Sunrider, so that's why I was giving him a rough time.
So anyways, yeah, she's been a joy to work with all these years. So for myself, I got involved back in the late 80s, and I was, I was just working around the clock. I had a farm and had a full-time job with an oil company, and I certainly wasn't living the life or living the dream. But I had a dream that I was going to retire when I was 40, and I was willing to do whatever it took to make that happen. But I would have retired into a coffin, I think, because I was just working all the time. And I was researching all these different opportunities, franchises, and none of them were just, by the time you really did it, it looked like you were just buying yourself a job. There was never a lot of money to be made, and or else you needed a huge amount of money to go into business. And so I was kind of stuck in the middle. And we started eating these foods from Sunrider, and I didn't even know it was network marketing. And then I was totally in love with these products. And then I found out that it was network marketing, and we were getting excited about the business before I found that out. And then I was like, oh, no, it's network marketing. That's what people do when they can't get a real job. And I was quite disappointed. And then I thought, I'd already realized what a great company Sunrider was, and high quality manufacturing and products, and the owner, and and the people and all that. And I thought, well, if a company like that uses network marketing, then I have to at least research it enough to say that I've given it a proper look. Because if they're doing it, it can't be that bad. So I started researching it, and then that's when I realized how amazing network marketing is if you do it properly, that it's a teaching business. So I just took off building a business, and my thing was to talk to one person a day, and 5 days a week. And within 14 months, we earned a new car and a Mercedes, and we were making a pretty good income, and it just kept on growing. So I still say it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I'll just say something about Jim. I remember the first meeting I gave at Jim's house. He was sitting in the back looking very, very, not very happy about the whole thing. But he brightened up pretty soon once he saw some checks coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard he gave you a headache, Randy.
Oh, I don't remember that part. Okay, so Anne from Regina.
Well, I started out similarly to Trudy and Barb. I had health challenges, and long story short on that, got well fairly quickly. And when that happens, then a couple of things can happen. You get excited, and you start telling other people about it, so it just naturally, the business side of things sort of progresses from that. But the other thing that happens is people, at least with Sunrider, if a person is eating the products regularly in amounts that make a change, other people notice a change in you, and they actually start asking you what you're doing, and so it becomes very easy that way. As Jim and Trudy were talking, I started thinking about my history with Sunrider, and I've actually done my business two different ways, because when I started out, I was coming from the illness or trying to regain health side of things. And so my focus was to try and help people who were in that realm, people who were struggling with their health. And the learning curve, it is an education business, just like Jim says, and so you have to teach people a lot. And the education learning curve with people who are coming from the sickness or the illness side of things is quite steep, because they've never really thought about prevention and that sort of thing. And then, as many of you know, years later I owned a fitness club, and I was working with people who were interested in health. And it was so much easier, because they're already there. They already get it. They know that it's about prevention. They know that if they put good things in their body will respond. And so it's just so much easier. But I still do my business and speak to everybody, because everybody needs this. It's just faster and easier when you're working with health-minded people. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that, Anne. That is a different perspective. I've never heard that from you. Barb.
Yes. Well, 25 years ago, we were in a very dire straits financially, and what I realize now is that financial stress can really affect people's health and their relationships, their family life, and so many things. And so that's where I was 25 years ago, and found the Sunrider Foods. 2 weeks later, my husband came home and said, there's a business part to this. And I looked at him and I said, if it's anything like Amway, I'm not interested. But thankfully, fortunately, I was open-minded enough to, like Jim, see it through, research it, and realize that this was a very different company, and it had unique products that were fabulous. And so we began sharing it right away, and the income was there. Everything that they promised was there, and it was absolutely great, and it's given me a tremendous lifestyle. Just travel with my family, wonderful friends that I've met down through the years, and just a great sense and purpose in my life, and so it's been fabulous.
Thanks, Barb. I might mention my own story just briefly. When I began, I was like everyone. I had some health things going on, but I was also, and like Barb, very financial dire straits. So I knew that I could not afford the foods if I didn't do the business. And so we started doing the business right away, and sort of a rags to riches kind of cliche. It was just amazing the lifestyle that it ended up giving me. I'm like Jim said, working at home now for 20 some years. I have enough income to buy or live the way I like. And as I've said before, it's the beautiful part about that is I've been able to be home with my family. I'm a single dad, and just to be able to be home at all times for my daughter has just been a huge blessing for me. Throughout the years, when we're sitting down with somebody on a one-to-one basis, we often ask this question. Now, someone was going to talk about this.
I think that's mine, Randy. It's
okay.
Trudy. It says, if you could change one aspect of your life, what would it be? I love asking people this. It opens the doors to their imagination and to their creativity. And I just asked my husband about half an hour ago, Rye, if you could change one aspect of your life, what would it be? Now, remember when we started in Sunrider, both of us were really focused on health. That was our thing now. And he said something to me, and I thought was really great. And he goes, it would be great if we had more residual income. Because when you do have that wonderful residual income every single month, what's happened is it expands your horizons. And all of a sudden you think, you know what, we could travel more. Wow, we're in a really cold climate in Canada. Wouldn't it be great if we went down to Arizona for 2 months this winter? And so with Sunrider, you can do that. But I love asking people this question because you never know what they're going to come up with. When it really settles down to the bottom line is all of the things that they would like to do usually always seem to settle down to they need more income to be able to do it.
And here's the answers people give. Barb.
Okay. Yes. Now, I used to work in the federal government office before Sunrider, and, I've seen these people going to work every day in this office, and, they always thought, oh, this is wonderful, great job, security, and they would work until retirement. They'd have a big pension fund put away, but they didn't have time. They didn't have their health. It wasn't a real meaningful business or job. And definitely no time to travel and things like that because they were waiting till they could retire. And then they were going to do all these things. And what I found is people would get to that retirement age, they'd have their big pension, but they wouldn't have their health. Or, and then pretty soon they wouldn't be able to do the traveling. And so that's what Sunrider has given me, every single one of those things, so that I'm the mom that could do the volunteering at the school. My kids always knew they could put their hand up in school and say, my mom can volunteer, because I was always there for them. So each one of those things are a part of Sunrider income opportunity and very, very important.
Thank you, Barb. What I see is that like everything that's here is what people start with, and it's actually what people continue on the business for. As we've mentioned, a lot of people start on the health, and they soon either naturally or wisely sort of get interested in the income. But after you've been in the business for a while, it's actually the people that sometimes that keep you there. It's just such a great business, so wonderful people to involve with, and the in terms of meaning, it's that sense of purpose that you're actually doing something for the world instead of just making a paycheck. And, of course, the fun and travel.
Yeah.
So, economic crises. This is one of the reasons why people look at a business like this. Jim.
Well, as I've mentioned on other calls, that it was on one of my things on my bucket list was to become a financial advisor. And so I did that for a year and a half, 2 years. And it's like when you really start getting to know people and you sit down and you're going through their finances, and it's quite personal and it's quite humbling, because when we hear these statistics that only 10% of the people are financially secure, and 20%, and then the wealthy is only like 3% or something. But yeah, you go into a city like Kelowna or Calgary or whatever, and there's these big mansions everywhere, and you just think, wow, everybody here is rich. But if you actually got to know them and look into their finances, you realize that most people are not that well off, and the bank owns everything. And if something happened to their income, they would quickly be in trouble. And so, in Alberta and Saskatchewan, for example, the economy seems so robust, and there's lots of money to be made here, but so many people are struggling. They're just really getting by. And so this financial crisis that's been going on for a while keeps getting worse. And the reason if I was to define financial crisis, I guess I would encompass a lot of things. And if we went back a few decades, most people had their houses paid for and their car paid for and whatnot. But today we live in an age where nobody really owns anything. And you're old. There are a lot of old people still don't own their houses, and they still make a car payment, and some do. But it's just a lot different than it was before. And if we get into the statistics, as far as cost of living increase versus income increase, the spread, it's not even. So our cost of living has been going up, but our income hasn't. So Sunrider is a way that people can easily add 1,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 to their income, to what they're already doing, and to give them some security in their retirement. It just, to me, it's everyone should have a network marketing business as part of their portfolio.
Great. Okay. And so the other crisis is, of course, the health crisis, what we've already alluded to.
Right. When I look at, I'll just read what it says on here. Obesity is actually the second largest carcinogen in the United States. If we don't stem these obesity rates, we're actually going to have a tsunami of chronic disease, to include cancer, diabetes, heart disease, even orthopedic injury. And that's from Dr. Otis Brawley, Chief Medical Officer for the American Cancer Society. And you know what? I think we're already there. I remember there's a few things that I've noticed over the years. Probably 10 or 12 years ago, I remember I was driving somewhere at lunchtime just as the high school kids were coming out of school. And I couldn't help but notice all this stream of kids walking down the street, and how many of them were grossly overweight. And these were teenagers. And I thought, when I went to school, there was maybe 1 or 2 kids in your whole school that might be a little overweight. But this was just like every second kid. And that was 10 or 12 years ago. And the other thing that I have noticed in my travels, I go back and forth down to the U.S., and it seems the further south you go, the more obesity you see. And I believe if you do demographic research, you'll find that the further south you go, the more poverty there is as well. And so there's a direct correlation in my mind from obesity to your income level. And so we need to, I guess, one of the things that I kind of would avoid when I would see people, I actually have sort of avoided people who are ill and or who are obese, because I always had this feeling that it was too much work or they couldn't afford it. I was making these judgment calls. And I've learned over the years, never ever assume anything from what you see in front of you, because you never know what is going on in a person's life and what they are ready for and what they are willing to do. And the other thing, on the financial side of things, making assumptions on what people can afford is just so totally out of. You should never do that, because people will find the finances and the money for the things that are important to them. And so, as we're running into people and talking to people, most of us want to feel better, look better, have more energy, and so the chances are that we have something for, as I said before, almost everybody.
That's right, Ann. Thank you.
Now, Ann, you're south of us, so does that mean there's more overweight people in Regina than ever?
I don't know.
We'll see. Okay, Trudy, you're going to give the solution.
You know, adding to what Ann said is that we do have a solution. We are very aware. I think everyone in society now is very aware of the problems out there. They're even aware of the problems that they're experiencing themselves, but they haven't found the solution, and we've got some great answers for them. We were talking about, Jim, all those people with all those huge mortgages, beautiful homes. Wow, they're really living the lifestyle, right? And they're working 70, 80 hours a week. Well, we've got sustainable wealth. When I think of 18 and a half years I've been in Sunrider, and you know what, Sunrider has never, ever not sent me those wonderful residual checks every single month. That is sustainable wealth. We don't have to have the $2-3 million in the bank. That would be great, but we've got the income already from that. It's just the greatest blessing. Good health. I think that when my husband said today, well, wouldn't it be nice to have a little bit more residual income? I thought it was really an eye-opener that he didn't say health. Rye's a long-term diabetic. His health is amazing. So is mine. That's another thing that Sunrider has got available for everyone. And working for yourself, I have to tell a little story here. I remember when I had gone back to work after having been on disability for several years, and I was sitting at work one day, and three of my four sons were playing in a rugby tournament with another city, and I had asked for that time off. And this was like probably, when I had first gone back to work. And my boss said, well, it's really not convenient. No, you can't have the time. And you're sort of begging for an hour to go and spend time with your family. And after I quit my job, three of my four sons, again, were playing in a rugby tournament with New Zealand, and I was sitting at the high school, which just happens to be right across from the hospital where I used to be employed, and I was sitting there thoroughly enjoying the rugby game, having a great time, and realized I didn't have to ask for anybody, for that time off. Everyone else was leaving work at 4 o'clock when I used to be finished, and I'm watching them, and I'm going like, I'm sitting here watching a rugby game, and my Sunrider income is increasing because everybody's independent. They all order their own foods when they need it. And all of a sudden it hit me what it meant to work for myself and how the freedom that it brought. I didn't have to ask for that time off. I didn't have to feel guilty asking for that time off. I didn't have to get down on my knees and beg for that time off. Mm-hmm. I was free, and I had the income. It was amazing. Randy mentioned a little bit about the lifelong relationships. Every single one on this call, when we get together, when we go to conventions or when we go to a Sunrider event, what happens the first time we ever see each other? The arms go out and the hugs come in, and we are so delighted to be together and so joyful and so joyous to be together. We've developed lifelong relationships because of our Sunrider business and how precious it is. The world has become very, very tiny. I go to a convention, there's somebody from Israel comes over and goes, Trudy! And I get this great big hug, and I'm just so happy to see this person. Contribution. Ann and I were talking before the call got recorded about how important we feel that we're contributing back to society in such a positive way. Giving back, giving of our time, our talent, and our treasure, because we've got the time to do it. But not only that, but giving of our heart to reach out to other people and to help them in their need, whether it be financial, health, whatever it is. We have got a wonderful answer, and that's the Sunrider solution. So what is it so simply? Eat the foods first yourself. Eat properly. Balance your body. And I don't mean wait to build a business until you're healthy. Just start. Every day put those foods into your mouth. Put those teas into your wonderful systems, and just watch what happens. And you know what? It really, Ann is right. People start saying, what are you doing? And they want what we have. Exercise regularly. Well, have we got an exercise program with Sunrider, the SunFit program? I just feel like I'm giving people a weekly progress report on our different calls because it's now 13.5 pounds. It has just literally fat is burning off my body. I feel amazing. I love the SunFit program. I encourage every single one of you, get those tapes. Pop them into your VCR and you start. You will never regret it. Saving money. You know what? I've never had money to save before Sunrider. We didn't have enough income to be able to save money. So what a wonderful way to be able to do that, to have a residual income, tuck some away every day, every month, and you know what? It's great. It's really hard to save money if you don't have it, but when you have it, it's a great thing to do too. And, saving money in another way too. You're saving money on health bills. You're saving money on, all sorts of as we're getting into our older age, 60s and 70s, like you don't need to have all the pills and drugs and medication and everything else, or it's a very limited amount, even though my husband's diabetic. You're saving money there too. So it's wonderful because you're actually healthy. And earn income for life, that residual income. Oh my gosh, I would have to over the past years have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, or even millions, to cover the actual monthly income that I get from Sunrider, and how amazing that feels. So love the Sunrider solution. Give it a good serious look. If you're out there searching and you're listening to this call, get in touch with the person that introduced you to this call and do something about it. Take a good look at it for yourself.
Okay, thank you, Trudy.
You're welcome.
And balance your body. Normally, at this time in a presentation, we would spend some time explaining the foods, how they come from a 5,000-year-old tradition of health that has been proven through the years to actually balance your body. And we give a presentation on that twice a month, so we're not going to talk too much about that, other than to say that one way to look at the products is that they're food for the inside of your body, for your skin, for your environment, of just the very, very highest quality. The processing that goes into these foods, the quality of the foods that goes into these foods is unsurpassed anywhere in the world. So you can feel really proud and happy that you're offering something that is truly remarkable and actually unique. There's actually nothing like this in the whole world. There's so many companies out there offering, products that you can get in a store, and you cannot get these Sunrider foods in any store in the world. And so you're the only store that's offering this, and you should be happy for that. So, Jim, we've already talked about this quite a bit.
Yeah, we have actually talked about it a lot, and I'll just say one little story. It's like your brothers and sisters, you're all growing up in the same house, and you think you all get the same message, and you all think the same based on the lessons that your parents are teaching, but that doesn't work out that way. And so Dad always said, to me, obviously, that, you'll never make it punching a time clock. If you ever want to get ahead in life, you got to own your own business. Got to have tax deductions and all that stuff. So I heard Dad say that over and over and over. My brother that's 4 years older never heard Dad say that. And so he works a job, high stress, long hours, and we get in these conversations about residual income. And he's like, I've never thought about residual income before. Wow. And to me, that is just amazing to me. And when I talk to different professionals too, they think you got to write a song, write a book, drill an oil well, find a gold mine or something like that to get residual income. But residual income is right under our nose, and it's network marketing is just a wonderful way, and Sunrider just really stands out. A way of having income come in every month, whether you get out of bed or not. And there's always responsibilities and stuff, but you can truly have a lifestyle. You choose the lifestyle you want, and then you create a business that works around that. It's quite amazing.
Great.
I love this picture, Randy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna stick Jim's face on there. Okay.
And this slide, how does it work? Well, to quickly, explain this is today people do business really by, I know you, I like you, I trust you. Most of our decisions are made based on that. So a lot of us would buy a second-grade product and to buy it from someone we like. To buy the perfect product from someone that you don't like, you wouldn't do it. So people think that network marketing is all about sales. Well, it really has nothing to do with sales. And it has everything to do with establishing relationships and teaching. And so I was talking to a person last night, and they were saying, well, I just don't have the patience for teaching. And I said, well, there's tools that do that for you. And so we tell people about, a product that we like, and we use a system in order for them to figure out how to get involved in that without us doing all the work all the time. And then they order directly from our warehouse in whatever country they live in. And whenever they order, we get checks. And if they share with people, then we get a little percentage of that too. And it works really the same as a lot of business today. And so that's really how it works. And so then you wind up with a dozen or 50 or 100 or, the better systems you have, and you need to talk to your upline about that, the easier it is to build a big organization. So it really is. I was telling this person that, out of some of the things I've done, like real estate and financial advisor, that building the business and network marketing is by far easier than any of the other things I've done. And a lot of people think that network marketing, you're motivating people. And no, it really has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, and I can really relate to this picture because when I started Sunrider, I needed $700 extra a month to pay for a mortgage as well as help pay for my products, because you have to remember that we were in a situation where I couldn't even afford the products. As good as they were, as much as they helped me, we just didn't have the money. And so, my husband and I worked very hard. We went out and we treated it like a real business and shared it with a lot of people. We actually started November 27th, so we were working through December, Christmas. That was our best month. And, in 2 months, we had $400. By the third month, we had $1,400. And from there, it's just, gone up. So it's easy to do, and if you understand the power of duplication. And I always like to tell people that, you talk to 5 people that will go out and talk to 5 people, and, you can make $1,000 just by doing that and helping them. So it is very doable. And I always say to people, if I can do it with 5 little children, then anybody can do it.
Great. Thank you, Barb. And so Barb talked about $500 a month. Each business marketing plan is going to be slightly different, but with Sunrider, there's a certain level of commission that's called a leader, Sunrider leader, that makes approximately $1,000 a month. And to achieve that, you would need about $5,000 in sales volume to create this. And this has been accomplished by just everyone. I know students who have been away from school in the deep heart of some college down in the university that achieved that. And actually everyone on the call from different orientations has achieved that. And so it is possible to do. And in some ways this is quite amazing that you can make that much money with just that amount of sales. I think, Barb, you had a story about that.
The Watkins lady, yeah, it's interesting because I've been actually doing that quite a bit. Is when I'm at some shows, I was at Fort Saskatchewan last weekend doing a show with my daughter Jana, and so there was, of course, other network companies there, and so I would ask them that question. So if you had $5,000 a month, in your sales volume, in your group sales, what would your check be? And the one lady was like $340 she would have. My Watkins lady was excited because she got a $160 check and she had $5,000 sales. So what I realized is that we really have it very, very good in Sunrider.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
Okay, so how do we make an extra $1,000 a month?
Well, you start out by sharing the products. Customers love our Sunrider products because they balance the body on so many levels, and they are the highest quality products you're going to find anywhere. The average reorder rate with Sunrider is one of the highest in the industry, and I think probably everybody on this call has customers in their group that order every month. I have a few of those, and then you'll have a variety of people that order once every couple of months, and then you'll have a few that order once a year. But yeah, there's a fairly high number in Sunrider that order every month. Assuming each person or family orders once per month, you would need 25 of those people using the Sunrider products. 25 people is not very many people. If you are talking to anybody who knows anything about sales, they would find that number of 25 people to be they would find it unbelievable, actually. So that's a pretty small number of people using the products on a regular basis monthly to create that $1,000 check. So that's not that hard to do. Still me?
Yep.
I think this one's...
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought
Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm only seeing... Oh, there we go. The rest of it. Yeah. I'm just trying to look at this through the eyes of a new person. And it goes back to that idea of I know you, I like you, I trust you. And, I've talked to, coached and counseled, so many different people over the years. And like Trudy made a statement, like just eat the foods every day. And, a business person, they think of that as, well, they think, well, what does that mean? And what it means is when a new person comes to me and they say, I want to do the business. So the first question I ask them is, have you eaten the products long enough that you've made the decision that I'll eat these products for the rest of my life? And if you're kind of, well, I kind of like them, but I'm not really sure, whatever, it's pretty hard to influence other people if you're not firm in your conviction. And so then I would send them off to, well, maybe you need to research the company or this or that or whatever, and I would send them in a direction that they need to go. And that's what all of us are on this call for. Come to us with anything. And so once you're at that point where you're excited, you're genuinely excited about the foods and the company and whatnot, and I'll make this extra statement on the side here, is that most people, they're excited about the products, but they're not excited about network marketing. And so I tell them, well, when you get as excited about network marketing as you are the products, wow, no one will stop you. And so you just have to research that a bit. And again, come to us. Let us direct you in that direction with generic information. It's not just information that Sunrider makes. So once you start talking to a few people, it's amazing how that can take off. And if you're using systems, then they quickly duplicate. And if you don't use systems and you're doing all the explaining, then you might wind up having to talk to more people yourself in order to get the 25. So you can either talk to 5 and have them talk to 5, or you can talk to all 25 yourself. But again, it's always up to you and how you want to set that up. And you can make this happen normally pretty quick. 6 months, you can usually get to that 5,000 mark. We've seen people do it way faster, and then we've seen people do it, in a year. It all depends on how much time you have and how efficient you become in your systems and whatnot.
Okay. But Jim, you make the comment on this that $1,000 a month is huge, actually.
Well, Trudy made a comment that I would need hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to have our income, that's the residual income they have. And so, if we tried to put our money into something secure, you could, when you get into closer to retirement especially, you want that money secure. So if we could get a 5% return on that, you would need $240,000 to have $1,000 a month in income. And so really when you think of that, then if you made $1,000 a month from your Sunrider business, that's a $240,000 business. And so if we reverse that how long would it take to create that? And so you'd have to invest $400 a month for 25 years at 5% to create $240,000. It seems quite daunting when you think of that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't save, but you should start when you're young.
Right.
And a business like this, you can, crank out in 6 months $1,000 a month income, and the retention rate that we have with Sunrider keeping our consumers is so high that it's something that you can really take forward into the future as a really good income to have.
Okay. Yeah, it seems a lot easier to build a Sunrider business.
Yeah.
And the timing and positioning is perfect right now. It's amazing. I think that's mine, Randy, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sunrider products are unique. Oh, my gosh. We're not just another fad vitamin or a juice company. They are unique products. Large variety of whole foods that we eat daily. Our body really wasn't designed to take in chemicals, isolates, but it certainly knows what to do with food. So the Sunrider products are really unique out there in the market. And the concentration, we need that. People are aging and health awareness is rising. Let's face it, this huge volume of baby boomers are all getting, fat and frumpy, and they're not happy with it. They're really looking around for everything to gain their health back and their youth and their vitality and their wellness and looking good and energy. And so that's what they're looking for. And so the timing and positioning is perfect for us right now. And in the world, someone in Asia will do your job for 1/10 the wage, and that's the thing we can do better in I really think the one thing we can do better in North America is customer service.
Absolutely.
So think about this. When's the last time you called? I'm going to use an example. Sears Canada. My husband was having trouble with his ride-on tractor, and he needed this particular part. So he calls Sears Canada, and he gets somebody in India answering their call. And the person had very good English, but his accent was so difficult to understand, and he couldn't understand what my husband was saying either. And so it was a hugely frustrating call. And so it got all these call centers around the world in countries that have got much less income trying to do customer service for huge companies, and it's not working. So if you're willing to teach your people, to serve your people, to give them that pipeline of information they need, you will be well paid. If your income's going down, I recommend that you just pick up the call and talk to someone. Use their name. You know what? That personal service is just, it's not available anywhere else, and people just soak it up. They absolutely love it. So timing and position is perfect.
All right. The other major thing is, as we've said many times, there's people here to help you.
Yeah, and as I think we've all talked a little about this. Sunrider for many of us who long-term ones especially, Sunrider has become our second family. And I'm just looking at that picture that you've got up there, Randy, and I think I haven't counted, but I know a lot of people in that picture. And just like Trudy said earlier, when we get together, it is like coming home. And I've heard that phrase many times over the years. Excuse me. Just eating the foods is like coming home, and getting together with Sunriders is like coming home. So if you want to expand your family or maybe get a new one, Sunrider is a really nice place to start.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm trying to find a bald head in that picture.
You didn't have your hat on,
by
Tim.
asking your sponsor for help, and then your sponsors will help you, and your sponsor's sponsor will help you, and every single person in that picture will probably help you if you talk to them.
That's exactly right. At convention, my niece, I took her to convention a few years back, and she commented over and over again, everybody is so happy, and they're so friendly, and they all wanted to help her, and they didn't even know her.
And they're all so healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jim, tell us how to get started.
Well, it's really simple. You contact your sponsor, whether you're sponsored now or you're not sponsored, and talk to him about a plan of what you should do, and then you buy a business pack. And a business pack is about $110 plus taxes and shipping, and it comes with 5-10 packs of Peach Fortune Delight, and that's about it. Make an appointment with your sponsor, which I mentioned, and you learn a system, and it's quite simple.
All right. It makes a big difference in your life once you do have a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any concluding marks, because we've come to the end. We're going to, in a moment or two, we're going to officially close down the call, but we will stay on for anybody that has any questions. One of the things that we do to support you and your business, if you're trying to build a business, is to give product calls the first and third Tuesday of each month, and then also this business call the first Saturday of each month. So we'd really like to help you in any way we possibly can, and we feel it's, as you've noticed, we've gone a little bit over time. We just love talking about Sunrider Foods and the Sunrider opportunities, so you don't have to feel shy calling up your sponsor, calling up any one of us to help you. And
we're starting the two product calls in January again. Am I correct, Randy?
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The product calls will be exactly the same as it has been, but at this point, the Saturday call will be at. Oops, I've got the wrong time on there. The same time it is today.
9:30.
So,
yeah.
So I'd like to thank everyone who's listening to this video or listened to this call. And I'd like to thank Trudy, Jim, Ann, and Barb. And Diana, when she's here, you'll hear her also.
Okay.
Hi, Randy. It's Tricia. I just wanted to comment, if people are a little concerned about the time of year and nobody wants to get started just before Christmas, Barb actually sponsored Ray just before Christmas, 25 years ago, like December 22nd or something. So everybody needs Sunrider, especially this time of year. And also, I don't think I've ever heard of any other income opportunity or job where you can give so much value and earn such a good income. It's amazing. And also, if anybody hasn't had a chance to read the article from Forbes magazine, Andrea sent it out, I think a couple of months ago, and it's where they're highly recommending network marketing companies. It's from April 2014. It was such an inspiring article. I loved it.
Thanks,
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, well then, thank you very, very much. It's been great to have you with us, and we'll see you you'll hear from us in January or online.
Thank you, Randy.
Okay.
Thanks, Randy.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Merry Christmas,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.